This is Math Fundamental video for April 16th. It's Thursday, and we are on lesson 13.4. And we're going to be talking about circumference of a circle today. Okay, so far we've been talking about area, which is the inside, and we've talked about perimeter, which is the measurement around the outside. And today we're going to be talking about circumference. And circumference is similar to perimeter, but it's of a circle. So it's measuring the distance around the outside of a circle. And as you can see, we don't have straight lines to measure to be able to do that. Okay, so for circumference, we have a formula, which is circumference equals pi d. Okay? Circumference can also equal 2 pi r. So these are your two formulas for circumference, and we'll talk about why they actually mean the same thing as we break this down and get into it. Okay, so first of all, we need to review a couple of parts of a circle to be able to do that. So I'm going to put my circle up here. And remember, there are three things that we have in a circle. We could have a chord, which is just touches two sides. Does that go through the middle? No. A special chord that goes through the middle is called a diameter. Okay? And it goes from one side to the other side. So this whole thing is a diameter. Now, if you'll notice, you have a D right here in your formula. So your diameter goes all the way across. Now, if you just start in the middle and go halfway across the circle, that's called a radius, and if you'll notice, it's right here. Now, let's look at something. Is this, just this part right here, I'll make it really thick, is it also a radius? Yes, just this half is. And this is also a radius. So if I put 2 times a radius, will I get the diameter? Yeah, because the diameter is twice the radius. So if you look, you can do diameter, or you can do 2 times the radius. They actually mean the same thing. Okay, now this is the pi sign, and we've talked about it before, and it's a number that goes on forever, but we use it as 3.14. So pi equals 3.14, or you can use pi in your calculator as well, doing these problems. So now that we have our parts of our circle reviewed, and we remember what pi is, we should be able to use this formula. Remember, anytime symbols are beside each other, what does it mean to do? It means to multiply. So we're going to be multiplying pi times d, or 2 times pi times the radius. Okay, so let's look at example A. It says find the circumference of the circle. So it gives us a circle, and it gives us a diameter of 9 meters. Okay, so it gave us this whole entire diameter, so I'm going to use this formula. C equals pi times 9. Okay, so Colton, can you get me the calculator, please? So I'm going to go ahead and punch this into my calculator, 3.14 times 9. So 3.14 times 9. Okay, and you should get on your calculator, make sure you're doing this on your calculator so that you can see if you're getting the same answers, because sometimes if you have an issue with your calculator, it could steer you in the wrong direction. So I get the circumference is 28.26 meters, okay, because I want to use the measurement. Now, we don't want to do meters squared because we're not measuring the inside of the circle. Remember, circumference is the measurement around. And if we were to take this circle, cut it, and lay it open, we would have a straight line. So we're not filling in with area. We're actually doing a straight line, so we would have our measurement of meters. Oh, it's 26. My apologies. 28.26. I wrote that down wrong. Okay, so let's do example B, and I'll come over here and write it. Okay, so example B tells us that we have a radius of 3 1/2 inches. Okay, so we have a radius this time, so we're going to use our formula with radius in it. We're going to say C equals 2 times pi times the radius, 3 1/2 inches. Okay, so we could change this into an improper fraction if you want to. We could change 1/2 into a decimal and work with it that way. I think maybe we'll do it the fraction way because that's what they've done in our example. Okay, so let's change this into an improper fraction. 2 times 3 is 6 plus 1 is 7. So I get 7 halves times pi times 2. Okay, now it doesn't matter which order I multiply these in, so I'm going to go ahead and multiply my 2 times my 7 halves. So let's come off to the side and do that. 2 times 7 over 2. I'm going to make this one into a fraction, and remember when we multiply fractions, we multiply straight across. So I get 14 over 2. Well, this is now just a division problem. What's 14 divided by 2? 7. So circumference equals 7 times pi. Okay, now we have something we can put in our calculator. 7 times 3.14, 21.98. So we get circumference equals 21.98 inches. Now let's go back and read our problem. It says they use an approximate, but you can give me the exact answer. Okay? All right. So if you have the diameter and if you have the radius, you need to write these down. You also need to write down that pi equals 3.14. Okay? They're going to give you the diameter or the radius, and they're going to ask you to solve the circumference of the circle. Okay? All right. Very good. So let's do numbers 1 through 18. And 17 and 18 are a bit of a challenge, but I want you to think through finding the perimeter of a rectangle and the perimeter of a circle, and that'll give you a clue how to find it. But make sure you Marco Polo me for help and that you're showing your work. I have been marking off on work if I just have answers, okay, because then I don't know that you're doing the work. So make sure you're showing your work on your math.